joining us today. Today's class is our Introduction to Online Shopping. Today we have Rebecca Van Dusen, who's going to be our instructor. And my name is Susan Winkler, and I'm our technology librarian. I do want to go over some brief details about what's going on here at the library. We are open right now for our regular hours, so you're welcome to come into the library and pick up materials. We do also have curbside service right now, so if you're interested in that, you can pick up your materials curbside. We do have Chromebooks and hotspots that you can check out. You can put holds on those as well. And then I want to go over some Zoom features real quick. In case this is the first time in Zoom, or if you need a refresher. So at the bottom of your screen, if you hover your mouse down in the corner, you'll see where you can control your volume for your speaker. And then in the middle, you'll see that you have a chat function. It looks like a little comment bubble. And we do want you to go ahead and use chat today if you have questions throughout the presentation. I can actually relay those to Rebecca. If you need her to show a demo again of something that she's going to show, you can go ahead and also put that in the chat, and I'll relay to her that we want her to do a demo again. If you have any technical issues or anything, there's also a raised hand button, which just looks like a hand. And you can use that if you're having technical difficulties, or when we get to the end of the program, or when we get to our question slides and you want to speak your question verbally instead of typing it, we will stop at that point, and we can, if you raise your hand, I can unmute you, and then you can speak your question in case you're not interested in typing it out. Okay, all right. And in the chat, you'll notice that there's actually a spot where you can do all attendees and all panelists, or you can send a direct message to the panelists, myself and Rebecca. But we will go ahead and still say that out loud to folks. So just know that we are recording and that everything will be shared back and forth. Okay. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. I want to introduce Rebecca. She is our library associate here at the library, and you may have seen her teaching and hosting some of our webinars, and also assisting and teaching some of our in-person classes before that. So I'll let Rebecca take over.
Okay, hey everybody. So we are covering Introduction to Online Shopping today. And I was just telling Susan, it's the perfect time of year. We're coming up on Black Friday, Christmas time, and we usually like to hold this class because it really helps to be smart and safe when you're shopping online. So we're going to talk about how you can do that today. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my PowerPoint. And then if you guys want the PowerPoint as well, we can send that to you. Just shoot us your email. We'll put our emails to at the end. I'll have a slide with my contact information, and then we can put in Susan's contact information as well. But just let us know, we can send those over to you real easy. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen, Susan?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so you'll see my email down there at the bottom of the screen on the left side. Again, just feel free to ask questions or whatever you need. I'm here to help. Don't feel like you're interrupting anytime during the presentation. That's what I'm here for, so ask away. Okay, so today we're going to talk about quite a few things. We're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of online shopping, types of sites and stores you might visit while you're online shopping. We're going to talk about shopping safely and securely. We're going to talk about strategies and tips for searching. We're going to talk about buying and paying. We're also going to cover some smartphone apps that you might deal with when you're shopping online or even in store. And then we're going to talk about a few new things that have started cropping up with all this COVID stuff. So we'll talk about a little bit about curbside and delivery and kind of some of the stuff surrounding that new area of stuff. Okay, so what are some advantages of online shopping? So of course the advantages that I mostly think about is the convenience. I don't have to get up and leave the house to go shopping. I can just go on my phone or on my computer and just pick out whatever I want, buy it, and then they'll send it to me. So it's pretty easy that way. There's also a bigger selection when you're shopping online. So especially with stores online like Amazon, you'll have a bigger selection than you might have if you were to go into a store. And even some online stores, like for instance, if you go and shop in store, there might be more stuff available online, even though it's the same store. So there's that with selection. There's also a little more information. So some information you can see when you're online shopping is you might be able to see some reviews that you might not be able to see when you go into the store. So Amazon's really big on doing reviews. You'll see reviews on other websites like Walmart's website, Target's website. Most websites right now that when you go on to shop, they'll have reviews on them. There's also an advantage for price. So sometimes you might be able to get a better deal online than you can in store. You might be able to take advantage of coupons. So you can get a coupon discounting your items online. But you might also consider some things about the price when you're shopping online. So you'll want to consider things like shipping, tax. That might be a little different when you're shopping online. You'll have to pay for those things versus when you're in store. When you're buying online, there's also an advantage nowadays. A lot of stores are offering curbside pickup. So you can order something online and pick it up in store. That way you don't have to go and browse the shelves. You can just click it and pick it up. There is also, when you buy online, you can sometimes return at a physical store. So for instance, maybe you bought something at Kohl's online and you didn't like it. You can return it at a physical store instead of sending it back through the mail. So that's another consideration when you're buying online. There are also some disadvantages too. So a disadvantage to online is you're not getting that hands-on inspection. So you're not able to try on clothes. You're not able to actually physically pick up the item and look at it. With online shopping, someone is actually taking that off the shelf and you're just getting whatever they're taking. So you can't like compare to see, okay, which one looks better, which one feels better. That's a disadvantage, I would say. Buyer beware. Let me get into my other slide here. So you might also think about when you're buying online, are these sites reputable? Are they good places that I can buy stuff from? What is their return policy? So you'll want to think about that when you're going to visit specific sites. And usually if it's a reputable site, they'll have pages that talk about like their return policy and their other policies when you're buying. There is also the cost of shipping. I kind of touched on this before, but you'll have to pay for shipping if you're buying something. Now, I know a lot of sites will let you get free shipping if you buy above a certain amount, but shipping is definitely something to take into consideration when you're shopping online. There's also a wait time. I know a lot of shops right now are experiencing a lot of wait times because of COVID. And normally you might get a wait time of maybe 2 to 3 days, and now it's stretching into weeks. So that's also something to consider, especially around the holidays or even somebody's birthday. You want to buy them something online. Got to consider that wait time. They may not get it by their birthday. They may not get it by the holiday. So you got to kind of plan that wait time into your shopping experience. And there's also the issue of privacy as well. So we're talking about when you're online, you're putting in your credit card information, you're putting in your address, you're putting in just information about yourself. So you'll want to consider that when you're shopping online as well. And we'll go into that a little more too. Okay, let me pause for questions before we go on. I know that was a lot of information to throw at. Anybody have questions so far?
If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat, or if you'd like, you can raise your hand and I'll unmute you.
Okay, I'll keep going for now, but again, interrupt me if you need to. I'm interruptible. So let's talk about the type of sites and stores that you might experience when you go online. So you'll see there are kind of two that I've put up here. So there's national sites and then there's local sites. So a national site would be like a national chain site, like say a bestbuy.com or a Target, places that anywhere in the country can access and get shipped to easily. Local sites are a little different because they may be a local business that has put their products online. So for instance, Champagne Outdoors has their own website, Country Arbors Nursery. So that's a good way if you want to support local businesses, but you don't want to go in, into the store, especially nowadays. Check out and see if they have a local site and you can order from them as well. I know with a lot of things like bookstores, you may be able to go to Amazon, but you may also be able to support your local bookstore and see if they have like their own website that you can visit. So I recommend kind of browsing around and seeing if any of your favorite local stores have a website. Okay. There are also primarily online warehouses. So when I say primarily online, that means for the most part, they do not have a store that you can visit, like a brick and mortar store. So for instance, Amazon, I know you've probably heard articles about Amazon bookstores or Amazon convenience stores, but for the most part, they're primarily online. So you can't just walk into a store and order something. I also put Zappos.com as a pretty popular one for ordering shoes online. So those are some other stores. And then we also have online marketplaces. So you're probably familiar with a store like eBay. So that would be kind of an auction site. Etsy is another marketplace where people sell handmade items and vintage items. And then we have something like Craigslist. Craigslist is kind of like a classified online site. So something like that would put in, like someone has a garage sale coming up, or they have a for sale thing that they want to post so that people notice it and they can sell their own items. Okay, any questions so far?
No questions so far.
Okay, let me stay hydrated. Okay, so before we get into the actual searching and like shopping safely online, there are a few things you want to consider before doing all that. So you probably want to do a little research before you're buying. So you'll probably want to search multiple places or websites. So say if you're buying, for instance, a washing machine, you might want to search multiple websites to see what the differences are. Maybe there's different prices on different sites. Maybe there's different models and colors. So searching multiple places will kind of help you narrow down what it is that you want and where you want to buy. I like to think of it kind of like as online window shopping. So you're just kind of going around seeing what the best deal is, like you would if you were just driving around town and shopping for something that way. And you also may want to consider reviews. So with a site like Amazon, they have a lot of reviews that you might want to read before you buy something. That's pretty useful, especially if you're buying something you're not familiar with. Sometimes you can browse the reviews and see what people like about it, see what they don't like about it. Just kind of do a little bit of research before you actually spend your money. Okay. So I talked about reviews a little bit. So we have consumer reports here at the library, and that's a really important thing that I point people to if they're trying to buy something like a car, like a washer and dryer, like I was saying before. Consumer Reports is actually an unbiased website. They don't take any advertising money, so they can kind of make their own, what's the word for it? Their own evaluation of products. And I'll kind of do a demo of that with something as well, so you can see like how to get into Consumer Reports and all that. And then Amazon as well has reviews. You might have heard recently, I know I have, that there have been some articles out there on Amazon and about how they have paid people to write reviews for them. So that's also something to consider as well, that even though a review is out there, it may not be like truthful, or it may be wanting to sell you an item. So that's something to consider as well. That's why I like to point people to Consumer Reports, because we recommend that. It's unbiased. Go to Consumer Reports. There's also company websites. So for instance, like with a washer and dryer, you may have a particular company that you're looking for to buy that washer and dryer from, maybe Kenmore, maybe LG. They usually have a website that you can visit and buy directly from them. There's also a way you can shop from your browser. So if I'm doing a Google search for something, there's a Google Shopping tab that I can click on, and it will show me the results from my search in a way where I can buy those items. And we'll kind of do a demo of that as well, if that doesn't make sense. And then there's also a way you can when you're searching, you can choose your search engine so that it changes the results. So with Google, that's like the biggest search engine, I would say. But there are also other ones like Duckduckgo. So Duckduckgo is a little different because I believe they let you browse more so that it doesn't save your data, it doesn't save your searching data. I think that's right. If I'm wrong, Susan, let me know.
Yeah, no, that's correct. It's primarily one where they don't use cookies to sort of to track you. So if you've ever been
Yes.
on a website and you've searched for, say, shoes, and then suddenly you're on Facebook and all the advertisements on the right-hand side are for shoes, DuckDuckGo tries to eliminate some of that capability of tracking the browsing choices and your shopping choices online.
Yes, that is a good point. I know when I'm searching often online, I'll start seeing those ads for things I was searching, and that's just Google's way of kind of making money, I believe, on selling those to advertisers. Okay, next slide. So on a store site, so you'll see on my slide right now, this is from Walmart's website, and it's just a little search that we did for a Transformers action figure. So you can search for a specific product on these sites, and then from there you can narrow down your search results. So if I'm searching for Transformers, then I can see on my left side, I don't know, can you see my mouse here, Susan?
Yes, we can, or at least
Okay.
I can.
So on the left side, this isn't showing everything, but here I can see what department it might be in, and then I can change my shipping options. Do I want to pick it up from the store? Do I want to ship it to my house? Let me switch to the next slide. And then again, like I was saying before, there's different departments. So you can search within Walmart's full site, or you can search within the different departments. I know that Amazon has kind of the same area where you can just search for books, or you can just search for clothes. So that's something also to watch out for, so you're not getting so many results when you're doing your search. You'll see like this one has been narrowed down from, I believe, clothes to shoes, and then different types of shoes. So you can really get into the like detailed searches by using that department section. And I feel like most shopping online, their sites have that kind of filtering option.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also, like, this example was for boots, but most like clothes and electronics and stuff will have the option to filter by price, filter by brand, filter by color, and with shoes or with clothes, you can filter by size. So if you're looking for like a large t-shirt or something and you don't want to get results for small, you can choose your size. So that's a really cool option for online. Okay, so let's actually do a demo, and we're going to search for this Bosch 100 series, and this is a washing machine. Oh no, it's a dishwasher.
Yep, dishwasher.
Okay, so
One of
let
those
me
large ticket appliance items.
I'm going to copy what the item is because I'm looking for this specific model. So I'm going to copy that. And like I was saying before, I want to check out a number of different websites to see where I want to buy it. So I really like consumer reports. Let's do consumer reports first. So I'm on our website, champagne.org. Can you see that?
We actually cannot see that. You might have to pause and then share your screen.
Unshare my screen.
Yeah.
Stop share.
Okay.
Share screen. There we go. Can you see that?
Yep, now we can see the website.
Okay, cool. So champagne.org is your address, and then we're going to visit eLibrary. That'll get us into this little tab down here where we can select online tools. And then from this list here, we can go down to consumer reports and then click use consumer reports. I know it's a lot of clicking, but then we'll click consumer reports again. And since we subscribe to consumer reports at the library, you don't have to pay anything to use this service. But if you're using it, make sure you go through our website instead of just going directly to Consumer Reports. Otherwise, it will prompt you to enter login information. If it's having you do that, go to our website and go through it that way.
Now you might have to, if you're doing it from home, you might have to put in your library card number.
Yes. It let me through immediately because we're on the library's internet, and it detects that we're in the library. And you can also, if you're like wanting to use our computers, you don't need to put in your card number either. If you're on a computer at the library, you can get on without putting your card. Okay, so we want to do a search here. So since I know what my model is, I copied and pasted it into here. I'm going to click search. And then I'll see my models here. So I think it is this SHX one, yes. So then I can see the other models that come up, and I'm going to click on that. And now I can, if I scroll down, I can see what Consumer Reports thinks that our high is about it. So they think the performance is good. And then they'll talk about what the lows are. And then just results of what they did with testing. And then if we scroll down, we can see it compared to other washers, or why do I keep saying that? Dishwashers. I really want to do my laundry for some reason. And then I believe that, here we go. So we get into some user reviews. Now these are reviews that are written by people, not by Consumer Reports. So you'll see them down here where they'll write in, I would not recommend to a friend, and they'll write out like why they liked it or didn't like it. So I recommend kind of browsing those and then taking a look at what Consumer Reports is saying about everything. And you can kind of go through the tabs and it will take you down there as well. And then that's Consumer Reports. And if I click on shop, that will show me where I can buy it from for that price that they have listed. Now let's search it if we were just doing a Google search and we wanted to go to the shopping tab. So I'm on Google and I'm going to type in my dishwasher model number and I'm going to hit enter. And now all the results will come up. And you'll see up at the top here underneath the search bar, I'm in all right now, but if I click on shopping, that's going to bring me to the best match. So I think this is the same one that we saw from Consumer Reports, but there are other matches that come up. So if I scroll down, I'll see, and especially with the model number, I usually make sure to write down what I'm looking for so I know that if I'm searching, okay, this isn't the right one or this is the right one. Let's go back up here and see if we click on this. It should show me product details. Does it tell me the model number? It just says 100 series.
Yeah, it was, yeah, I think you just passed it. It's right. Where did it go?
Let me go back up here.
I think it did say it.
It says it up here at the top, but this isn't
That's
telling
just for your
me.
search, yeah.
Right. Let me go down slowly.
Buying options.
Here we go.
Specifications, yeah.
So this is that model number there. So this is important when you're doing stuff online, especially because you don't want to have to buy a washing machine. Why do I keep saying that? Dishwasher. Dishwasher.
It is a kind of machine that does washing, so it's okay.
Dishwasher. If you're buying a dishwasher, you probably don't want to have it shipped out to your house and then have to return it. So it's a good idea to do a little research before you're buying something big like that online. And then let's think about, okay, we want to buy it from Bosch. Let's actually see if Bosch has a website we can buy it from. So I'm going to search Bosch. So my results, I'll see the ad up at the top, but it looks like, let's see, Bosch has been designing home and kitchen appliances. So I see a dishwasher option here. Actually, let me go back to their home page. Let's click on Bosch Home. Okay, so this looks like a site where I can search here on the top right where my little magnifying glass is. And usually when I'm on a website and I want to search, I want to look out for that magnifying glass. So let me type in the number here. Let me just type in the model number and see what happens. Okay, so it looks like they have it on their website as well. So it looks like the same price as everywhere else, and they have reviews. Looks like 2,149 reviews, 47, and they have 4.5 stars. And then if I scroll down, it looks like I can read the reviews, and there's some pictures. I would say the pictures are getting pretty common with a lot of reviews. Like I notice a lot on Amazon, there's pictures. I think they're pretty useful if you're buying something that you're not sure about.
And it looks like in this case, Bosch has actually included some where they were negative reviews as well. And that's something to pay attention to for a company website especially. So here's one where they said that
right,
they
they
were not
will
happy.
allow it to have negative reviews, so that's important too. Because you don't want it to be completely biased, right? You want to have some sort of ability for it to be, hopefully, you get that chance to make your own judgment about it.
And sometimes you might find that what it is it's actually, that the customer service experience they had was not great. The product
right.
itself was fine, but they had a small issue with the dishwasher or something running, and they had to reach out to customer service, and the customer service experience wherever they bought it was actually more of an issue.
Right, I think I see that often. Like, I think you don't want to jump the gun too much on just seeing, okay, it's got 1 star. That's bad. It's probably a good idea to read it and see why, and maybe it's like Susan, what you were saying about the customer service experience rather than the product. Okay, so that's our search demo. So I've searched 3 different ways. And again, you could always go out to another site like Amazon or something like that, whatever site you want to do a little more research on, or maybe Sears sells it, maybe someplace locally sells it. You could check their website too.
Yeah, that's something I do a lot, where I will look something up online, research it, find out what the prices are like online, where it's trending, and then I'll see if there's somewhere local that has it too.
Yes.
And then I can go and look at the physical. I might end up buying it online, but I go into the store and look at the physical dimension. I have a hard time with the spatial relationships, so I'll go and look at the physical dimensions of it in a store, especially something like a dishwasher where you have a finite amount of space that you're going to have to put it into. And then you kind of know better whether or not it'll fit there, how it feels, that kind of stuff.
Yes, I think that's pretty common where people will go and kind of scout things out, and then maybe they'll want to contribute to the local economy or support a local business and then buy it from them instead of like a big box store or something. Okay, let me get back into my PowerPoint here. Any questions so far about the demo or anything else that you have questions about or you think I didn't touch on enough?
No questions so far.
Okay, let me keep going. Okay, so let's talk about really important stuff about how to be safe and secure when you're shopping online. Because I think a lot of people are worried about it. If you put your personal information out there, how do we be safe? So you might consider setting up a separate email account for doing your shopping online. So this is some way you can also get your email filtered so that you're not seeing all that kind of stuff get into your normal inbox. So you might get a folder inside of that email that has your confirmations and it has your receipts, and even maybe an email that you have set up to get coupons from stores. Like I know a lot of stores send out emails pretty often like, hey, we got 20% off for you or whatever. You might have a separate email account so those aren't getting into your normal emails that you might not want those mixed up. And then also consider not storing your usernames and passwords on browsers. So this is probably especially important because if you're sharing your computer and you have those things stored, someone could go in and use your information when you're buying things. And I say it's probably best just to be safe and not have all that saved on there, just in case someone else gets on. Also, signing out of store sites after you're done purchasing something is important too, because that way your information is not still pulled up. There's no way for someone to possibly get in there and buy something that you wouldn't want. And also consider not storing your payment information on a website. So sometimes when you're buying something online, it'll prompt you to say, hey, save your credit card on our site so it's easier for you next time. You don't have to type all that information in. I would say it's probably best not to, just to be safe. That way you're not worried about the possibility of your credit card getting out there. I know sometimes you hear stories about like Target getting hacked or whatever, and all the credit card information is out there. You might also consider using a guest account instead of having your own account with a particular website. Like you may have a Target account or a Walmart account or an Amazon account. Think about using a guest account if you're not sure about the safety of that. Usually when you're buying online, you can just go into your guest account. You don't have to create an account, but you would have to enter all your information every time.
Hey, Rebecca, we do have someone with a question.
Yeah, let me go back.
They've asked for me to unmute them, so I'm going to go ahead and allow them to talk. If you can give me just a moment here. Okay. Okay, so you should be able to go ahead and talk to us.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, you probably covered it, but I missed. Okay, you talked about the washing machine, and then how can you find out once you go online and like find out that it's in Walmart? How can you tell which stores or which places locally would have that? I missed that part.
Sure, you might have to do a little more research outside of that. So for instance, does Dick Van Dyke Appliance have a website? I know that's a local store in
Yes.
Champaign.
Yeah, they do have a website.
If you knew the store, you could do a little research and see if they had a website, and then search their website and see if they had it. Or you could even give them a call and say, hey, I was looking at this model online. Do you guys have it in stock? Can you order it for me? Something like that.
Okay, I didn't know if a Consumer Report or something like that would have a list of all the places in Champaign that may sell that same
Let me
item.
see.
Yeah, and I do know for in some cases too that Google Shopping, you can put in your zip code in Google, in that little Google Shopping, and it'll try to find the nearest place that has it. But sometimes it's not super accurate. But if it does list one on the web, if it does list, say, like a big box store like Target or wherever, you can call the local Target and then ask them if they have it too. So you can, with that one, you can put in a zip code and kind of narrow it down a little bit.
We can kind of demo that too at the end. Because I know I use that often with like a store, like I want to pick something up and I want to make sure I'm not going to drive all the way over there and they don't have it. So you can locate that through like your zip code or address.
And I've even done that when I've been shopping for something and I know I don't have it locally, but I know if I'm going to be visiting a friend who lives in a town that has that store, I might call them up ahead of time and say, look, I'm coming to town this weekend. Is it possible that you have, X product and you could put a hold on it for me for when I get there? So you don't necessarily have to buy it online, but that way you at least can find out whether or not the place has it and then confirm it.
And a lot of times they'll actually offer to order it for you and have it sent to their store where you can then go pick it up.
Okay, because I know one time I used to buy some cookies from Walmart, and they stopped selling those cookies, and I wanted to find out where the cookies were sold other than Walmart in Champaign.
Sure.
Or where the cookies were sold nationally.
Right.
So I guess I would just Google the name of the cookies, and then I guess put in shopping and then find it that way, or?
Yeah.
That's
Or you
what
can
I would
actually
do.
ask your local library if they can do a little research for you on you know who might have it here locally too.
Oh, okay, okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
A lot of websites, I'll use an example that I remember because my parents live up in the Chicago area, and there's this grocery store, and they sell this type of pop they have that they don't have down here. And I was like, I really like this pop, and I don't want to have to wait till I go back up and visit my parents. So I went on to the brand of that pop's website, and sometimes they have like a store locator button. And if you click that, it will tell you where in your area they sell that item. So then you can put in like your zip code or your address, and it will show you the stores that they sell it in,
Oh, okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we
Thank
can
you.
demo that at the end, I think, too.
Yeah, let's do that at the end too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's get back to shopping safely and securely. So when we were talking about the considering not storing usernames and passwords, you can do that from your browser settings. This little screenshot I have up right now is from Google Chrome. So you would go into your settings and then your password settings. You'll see the little steps I have listed there. And then you would toggle on or off whether you want to be automatically signed in or have them save passwords for you. And I would say it's a really good idea too to have them off, because then you'll be more able to remember your passwords. Now that being said, you might have accounts with 15 or 20 different things. It's your own personal preference, but that's just a way to be a little bit safer online, so that if somebody got your computer, they wouldn't be automatically signed into anything without your consent. Okay. This is just a little screenshot from Walmart's website. So this is the option that they have to create your own account. And then you can think about when you're doing all that, you're putting in all of your information. And then you're asking, they're asking you, do you want to be emailed about special pricing, special coupons and stuff? So that usually happens when you're creating an account. You'll also want to pay attention to the terms of use and privacy policy. So then, like, when you create that account, you're kind of agreeing to their terms of use. So that's another reason maybe you want to create a guest account. And then there's a little screenshot there that has like that sign out option. So when you're buying something and you're all finished, make sure you find that little sign out button. It's usually in the top right corner under your account settings. And we can demo that too for a website when we do a search.
And it's not specific to Walmart. This is, you know, Walmart's just the one we picked for the screenshot, but almost, I would say most companies that you shop with online would have something like this.
Yes. I would say this looks pretty much the same across the internet.
Yeah, so we're not trying to privilege Walmart in any way. It's just that it's a one example of many.
Yes. And then, like I was saying before, if possible, don't save your payment information on websites. Just again, in case somebody gets a hold of your computer, or you're worried about your card information being out there online, you don't have to save it onto your account or your, like when you're doing your order. They ask you if you want to or not. So that's just something also to consider. Okay, so secure websites are something you probably have heard about. So secure websites versus not secure sites. I put these two examples up here to show you what it looks like when you visit it. So when you're up at the top of your browser window, you'll have the address there. And then if you see right to the left of that address will be HTTP. If it has an S in there, then that means it's a secure site. And you might see a little lock icon as well. If it's not a secure site, it usually will not have the S in there, and it might say not secure, and it might have like a little warning symbol that will tell you that they don't identify that website as secure, and maybe you don't want to put in your information if you're buying something. So let me actually demo really quick if we're visiting like a secure site. Let me get into my email, or not my email, my internet browser. Okay, can you see this?
Yes, we can see the Champaign Library website.
So up at the top, you'll see my address here, champaign.org/elibrary. Let's actually go onto a website where we want to maybe buy something. So let's go to Target. So you'll see up at the top left of Target's website, that S in HTTPS, so that's a secure website. And if I click on that lock button, it's telling me my connection is secure. So it says your information, for example, passwords or credit card numbers, is private when it's sent to this site. And then you can kind of learn more about what that means if you click on it. And then I usually say, yeah, don't enter any personal information on a site that's not secure, because you're not guaranteed that they're doing safe things with your information. Let me get back to our PowerPoint here. Let's see, I think we were here. Okay, so that was in Chrome. So browsers like Chrome, Firefox, and Safari, which is on an Apple computer, will identify secure and not secure sites for you. There might even be a warning that pops up saying this isn't a secure site. And then secure versus not secure internet connections. So that's another thing that you want to watch out for if you're out in public and you're using Wi-Fi. Think about your connection. So if you're connecting to a network that's not secure, someone might be able to get into your information. They might be able to see like your credit card stuff, your banking information. I would say if you're doing any of that stuff, don't do it unless you know that Wi-Fi network is secure. And then Wi-Fi networks that are password protected and trusted, those are the ones that are going to be better when you're entering that kind of information. It really also depends too, because you could go into like a coffee shop or something and you could put in a password for it, but that means that anybody else that's on that Wi-Fi network would also be into that, with that connection with you, if that makes any sense. So it's something to watch out for when you're in public, especially. Like if you're at home and you know your home Wi-Fi is secure and no one else is on the network, that's going to be safer than if you're at, say, a hotel and you're on a hotel network and you're signed into their Wi-Fi and you're doing banking, you're doing shopping. So that's something to be mindful of, is how many people may be on the network. If it's secure or not secure, think about what kind of information you're using when you're on that Wi-Fi network. I hope that makes sense. Any questions so far? I feel like we haven't paused for questions.
And remember, if you have questions, you can also raise your hand and I can unmute you.
There's a lot that goes into all that secure and unsecure stuff. And we are actually having in the spring, we're going to have another internet safety class. I'm not sure when it is. I think it's in, Susan will know.
Yeah, it's in January.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's the Illinois Attorney General's office that's going to come and talk about scams and phishing and how to stay safe online.
Yes, there's really good information they have going in that class. Okay, so another thing to consider is reading privacy and return policies. So before you're shopping, make sure you can return your item. Make sure what are they doing with the data that you're entering. Those are things that they should list in the privacy and return policy within that website. And they usually have that information either when you're doing your checkout or near the bottom of the site. There's links that you can click on that should give you information about those things. And like, for example, let me click on this Best Buy link, and then that should take us, let me know if you can see this, if it pops up, Susan. It should take us to Best Buy's privacy policy. Let me escape this. Here we go. I think maybe you can't see that, so let me share.
Not yet.
Again.
You might have to share the browser screen.
There we go. Can you see that?
Yes, now we can see it.
Okay, cool. So this is on Best Buy's website, and this is their policy, what they use your information. So it says, we will use your information to meet your expectations and have a great experience with Best Buy. So they've got a lot of that kind of customer service stuff, but also they can tell you what they use your information for. And then they have like a contact page, and then there's their privacy policy. So I recommend reading that if you're unsure about buying from someplace online or curious about what they do with your information. Let me see if we can get into that. So Best Buy, let me go onto their homepage. They should have it near the bottom of their website. There's usually a bunch of links down there. Yes, so down here, let's see. Order status, here's a return and exchange promise down there at the bottom. Let's see, get support, partnerships. I don't see their, here we go. Very small at the bottom, you'll see a couple of links here too. I see a terms and conditions, privacy link. I think that's the one we were at. Yep. So usually at the bottom of websites, you'll kind of find those type of links where you can get into that sort of information. Okay, let me get back to our PowerPoint. Okay. Another thing to consider, I touched on it before, is can you return it to a local store? So that's something that might be easy, might be hard, depending on the store. So with Kohl's, for instance, you might buy something off of Kohl's website and want to return it. Check on their website and see if you can return it to a local store. It might even say on the return policy what they can do for you. And it's also good to consider too, if you're returning something online, is it going to cost me to ship back to them if I don't like the item? So that's something that might be built into the cost of online shopping. You probably also want to make sure your antivirus software is up to date and your computer overall is up to date, just because that's going to help you to avoid the viruses, avoid bugs. It's going to be easier for you to keep everything updated. And also keep an eye out for scam sites, suspicious emails that you're not too sure about. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. So be careful if you're getting an email that you're not sure of who it's from. Why would they be emailing me with this link? If you're not sure, don't click on a link. That's helpful. Okay, let me get onto our next slide here. There we go. Okay, so there's another way to use payment on a website. Instead of using a credit card, say you're not sure you want to use a credit card, you can use a gift card. So for example, your favorite store might have a website online that accepts gift cards. Now, if you are using a credit card, you probably want to check with your credit card company to see if they have any identity theft protection policies. Can you get alerts about spending, about suspicious activity? I know for a credit card that I have, it lets me set an amount on my card so that if it goes above that amount, they'll actually send me an alert and say, hey, was this you? And then I could say yes or no, and that's another way for me to kind of protect myself from people who might be wanting to use my credit card. Now with gift cards, that's another way you can kind of avoid entering your card information on a website. So for instance, we put a little picture of an Amazon gift card. So you can use that gift card instead of using your credit card. Now again, you would have to go into a store or something like that to buy the card. And you want to think about, is there an activation fee to get the card started? You want to think about your expiration dates possibly for a gift card. Same thing, I guess, with a credit card too, because those have expiration dates. And then do specific stores accept specific cards? Maybe they only accept Visa or MasterCard, so that's also something to consider. Any questions so far?
No questions at the moment.
Okay. Okay, so I have a little screenshot here of the Walmart website, but this is pretty similar across multiple websites, like if you go to Target or Amazon or any site that you might buy from. There are icons that will let you see certain things, like your account information if you have an account with them. The store locations might have a special icon. And I would say probably the most universal thing on a shopping website is a picture of their cart. Oop, let me go back. I accidentally went through. So your cart button will get you into items that you have in your shopping cart. So when you're shopping, you can add items to your cart. And then when you're ready to check out, you would click a checkout button from inside of that menu. Now, again, it's probably going to be slightly different depending on which website you're on. But usually the icons are kind of up in the top right corner, and if you click on those, it'll let you access that sort of information. And then the shopping cart also kind of gives you a breakdown of what your end total is going to be. So you'll see on the right side there, I have a subtotal for my boots that I'm buying. So I'm buying some winter boots. So my subtotal is $70. Oop, I keep advancing accidentally. $70, and then my shipping is free. My guess is it qualified for free shipping probably because it was above a certain amount. Usually websites will tell you how much it costs to qualify for free shipping, so that's also something to consider. And then it will tell me how much my taxes are. And then I can click checkout, and then it will let me put in my information for shipping and for credit card. You'll also see that there usually is an item, when you put an item in your cart, there is usually a quantity option. So you can change that if you want more than one. But I would say if you're changing something when you go to checkout, make sure to check and see, okay, am I making sure this is the right quantity? I don't have too much. Saved for later is another option that's kind of new, I've noticed on websites. So saved for later might be something that you had in your carts, but you're not quite ready to buy yet. You can add it to your saved for later. I've seen that on Amazon as well. There is usually an option to remove it completely too. So instead of changing your quality to 0, you can just click remove. Again, it's different depending on which website you're on.
I've done that save for later occasionally when I'm watching the price of an item a bit too. Like I'm not quite ready to buy it and I think it might come down in price when they have a sale or something. And then I'll save it for later. But it's also there's kind of a caveat to that too, which is if they sell out of it, then you won't be able to purchase it. So you can save it for later, but if they sell out of it, it might, you know, when you're seeing it and you're going in there again, you might see that it's already been sold out.
That's a good point that you bring up, because if something's in your shopping cart, that doesn't necessarily mean you're guaranteed that item. You're only guaranteed it when you go into your checkout and you buy it. Yes. If that makes sense.
And it looks like we do have a question. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you here. Oops, sorry. Okay. Hopefully you can see the unmute.
Yeah, my question is, how does one know which shipping company the particular merchandiser is using?
It's a great question. Did you hear
that is a good question. I think, go ahead, Susan.
Yeah, usually you can. Usually it's written in the, when you look at the shipping information when you're going through the checkout process, and asks for your address, and it'll tell you down below. There's usually a little bit about whether it's going to be shipped through FedEx or UPS or different providers. And then usually also once you've purchased something, you'll get an email with your basically like an emailed receipt, and usually they'll send also a tracking number, and you can use that tracking number, and if you click on the tracking number, then you'll see which company it's coming from. If you want to know beforehand though, it's usually best to do it right with the shipping information. So like for example, Rebecca, we can do that, we can demo that on Walmart site and see where they're
I can do that now if that works, or we can
and
do that at the end.
I will say too that sometimes now people have websites will have third-party sellers too, so you do want to also be careful about that. Amazon does that, but Walmart now actually does that too, where they have third-party sellers. So you do want to make sure when you're ordering something online that you look at the seller information too, to make sure that it's actually coming from that company, or if it's coming from a third party, that you know that it's coming from a third party.
So let's see if we add boots. Can you see my screen? So say I wanted to buy these boots here, and I'm going to add them to my cart. So I'm selecting my size, I'm adding to my cart. So I think this here at the bottom, see where it says free 2-day delivery on $35 plus orders, and then it tells me the estimated arrival time. And then if I think if I click on more delivery and pickup options.
Yeah, and down below where you see it says sold and shipped by Walmart too.
Let's see if it
you
tells
see
me
FedEx
anything.
next day. I think I saw it said FedEx next day.
I see next day.
Next day delivery.
Let me see if it tells me a specific. I don't see a specific company mentioned, but it says sold and shipped by Walmart.
Which means that one would not be a third party seller. So next day is their fastest delivery choice, 2-day. So yeah, and then you could check out their shipping FAQ too. Yep, so it looks like Walmart actually shipping directly themselves.
Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of companies are getting into their own shipping. But it should tell you, like I know if I'm shopping on like Etsy, it'll tell you what it's been delivered by, like if it's by US Postal Service or if it's getting expedited or something, it should tell you when you're buying it.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that helped answer your question.
Yes, thank you.
You're
yeah,
welcome.
sometimes that stuff is a little bit buried on the websites too.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, let me get back into my PowerPoint
For your
here.
question.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes it's good to kind of click around and see what Walmart has to say about, or whatever site you're buying from has to say about what they're doing. Okay, so payment methods also depend on the site. Most sites will accept all major credit cards, like big box stores. Now, if you're shopping on maybe on a local site or a smaller website that's selling things, they might not accept certain cards. They probably have that listed somewhere on their website. There also is something called PayPal.com. PayPal is an online payment company. They're kind of like a middleman, so you sign in with PayPal, and then they send that info through to the people you're buying from, and they charge it that way instead of you having to enter your credit card. Sometimes I buy with PayPal if I'm not sure about the security of the website. If it has PayPal, then I know it's more secure because PayPal is secure. There's also an option sometimes to pay with gift cards, coupons. There usually is a box where you can enter coupon codes if you have them, and rewards. So rewards might be associated with your online account. So you might need to have an account to collect rewards. So that's also something to consider. And again, it depends on the site. So it could change depending on where you're going and where you're shopping. Any questions so far about payments or PayPal or anything like that? Okay. Okay, I'll keep going. Smartphone apps are also a good way to shop online. So some smartphone apps will let you find the best prices. So for instance, there's an app called Shop Savvy, which lets you scan a barcode of an item, and then it kind of, I believe it pulls up like a comparison of where you can buy it for the best price. Some apps are location based, and when you use them, they'll pop in coupons or ads onto your phone that are based on your location. There are store apps, like I know especially with Michael's and Joann's, I use often. I'll go into the store and I'll have the app on my phone, and then I'll get into the app and see if they have any coupons that I can use when I'm checking out. So that's another option. And sometimes when you're in the app, it will say whether or not it's available to use online or in store or both. It usually tells you within the coupon on the app. There's also savings and rewards apps. I would say the most popular ones are Retail Me Not, Ibotta is another one, and Rakuten is a rewards app. So if you buy from certain sites, they'll actually send you money back. You'll get like a discount, or you'll get money back on your purchases. So those are apps that you can check out. There's probably more out there, but those are some of the most popular ones. Okay, and let's also talk about a bunch of the new stuff that's going on nowadays. So you probably are pretty familiar with a lot of these, but Curbside Pickup is a really popular one nowadays. And I put a little picture from our website of someone doing a curbside pickup at the library. So you can pick up your books, your holds, your movies. I know we've done printing before for people and run it out to their car. A lot of places are offering that, where you have your stuff online, go to the store and pick it up. So you'll see that with retail stores, grocery stores offer it, a lot of different places nowadays. Ordering food online, I know that's been a thing in the past, but it's getting more prevalent nowadays. So there is kind of two options. You can, local options, they might have their own website. Most national chains have their own website, which you can order from specifically. But there are also apps where you can go on and see a list of all the restaurants in your area and order right from that app. So things like Grubhub or DoorDash are options. And then again, you would enter all your information there to place your order. And then there are things called Instacart, Rosie. Those are for grocery delivery. So if you want your groceries delivered to you instead of going into the store, I know Instacart's a popular one, so that you don't have to go in and do all that. They'll do it for you and then send it out. I know with Walmart, I think you can do it where you send them your order and then you pull up to their store and then they'll run it out to your car. I feel like that's kind of like curbside, but also kind of delivery, because they're both, it's kind of both, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I think that most major grocery chains are kind of adopting that. So I've noticed it with Schnucks, Walmart, I think Meijer has it, Target has it. A lot of places nowadays have that kind of stuff. Any questions so far?
Doesn't look like we have any questions at the moment.
Okay. So we're kind of winding down to the end, but I wanted to put some additional resources out there for everybody. So something to consider when you're doing your shopping: if you're not sure of a business that's online, you can always check with the Better Business Bureau. So that's bbb.org. And you should be able to type in the store information and it should pull up whether or not they vetted it, something like that. And then we put another link to this online safety basics, specifically to do with online shopping, from the National Cybersecurity Alliance. And let me get onto that website actually. Oh, I gotta copy that real quick. Copy the link. Oh, I can't do that from here. Sorry.
Okay. The National Cybersecurity Alliance actually has quite a few things on their website as ways to help protect, like tips and tricks and things to protect yourself. And there is a National Cybersecurity Month. I believe that's in, no, it might be October or November. I can't remember if it's November or October. But they have some good tips and tools for how to stay safe online.
Can you see that website?
Yes, we can see it now.
So these are some tips, kind of some of the same stuff that we went over. Do your homework, consider your payment options, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they have a related links too.
Mm-hmm. And the tip sheet is kind of fun. So, and they even have one specifically for, it looks like for holiday shopping too. So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Countdown to Data Privacy Day. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That I believe that's either in, I think it's in May. Data Privacy Day, I think, is in May. So.
And then there's another link. Let me go to visit that one. Oh, I need to copy the link first. It's from a website called Tech Boomers, and it's just kind of articles that they have about buying and selling online. So for instance, you'll see this eBay guide for sellers, buying on eBay, Amazon. So that's another site that is useful. Because there's so many different websites that sell things, and it's good to kind of know the ins and outs of how to do things. It looks like there's a guide to buying cheap baseball tickets online. I wish I could go to a game right now, but other than it's late November.
So quick question about sites like Rakuten. Are they mostly a rewards program, or do they give you the best price? I think Shop Savvy.
I think it's just a reward.
Yeah, I think Shop Savvy is one of those that will give you the comparison shopping prices. So if you were to take your camera and use the barcode scanner app on your camera, then it'll give you like the best. It gives you not necessarily the best price, but it gives you a comparison of places in the area that have that product and how much it would cost. So Shop Savvy is one that I know specifically does that, but I think there's probably quite a few out there that do the same sort of function.
Yes.
And remember, a lot of stores will price match too. Not a lot of them will price match something if it's online, but they'll price match against other local stores.
Yeah, I know that Michael's, I've price matched stuff before at Michael's.
Mm-hmm.
So Shop Savvy is mostly online on an app rather than a website.
Consumer Reports, one other thing about Consumer Reports is they usually do the manufactured suggested retail price for something too. So that's a good baseline for knowing, what the manufacturer has priced something at, which can be especially important if it's a large appliance item, like a dishwasher or washer, dryer, fridge, something like that. So then you can compare what the manufacturer suggested price is versus, what stores are actually selling it as. So
yeah, let me go here too.
Yeah, that's also something if like you're buying a car, that's a big one for buying cars.
Yeah, it will list the price, and then if you click shop, it says like information about like why they list those places. And then if I click on that, it should go to the website that they sell it at.
Yeah.
Let me go back to Rakuten, because that one you create an account and then you can get, I believe they give you cash back if you buy from certain stores. I haven't used this, but I've heard it's good if you buy things often, like if you buy things from PetSmart, like maybe you get your cat food sent to you at home.
And I haven't used it either, but we do have a colleague who uses it quite frequently.
It's good if you buy a lot online.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a credit cards reward kind of thing.
Yeah, but again, those are ones where, you want to do this, exactly what Rebecca just did, where you go on the website, you learn about it, learn about whether or not it's actually going to be beneficial to you and for your habits and your you know, what you're typically buying and things like that to weigh that it's worth it for you as an individual or as a
Right.
family or whatever.
And that's kind of the thing too, as I forgot to mention earlier, is they kind of use your data as a currency. So they're going to send you things through your email, they're going to send you coupons. That data that you gave them is going to earn them money because they're getting your business. So if you're getting coupons like every week in your inbox, I mean, you might be like technically saving money, but you're still spending money because you're using those deals that they're sending you, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah. And also, if you notice, like with the example of Walmart there too, you know, they're like, do you want to sign up to get notifications? And when you click mark that, you know, you check mark that box, you put in whatever email address you want to use, and then that is where they're going to send you, you know, the information about their new products, you know, coupons, as we say, and there's nothing wrong with it. You know, I do it for a lot of things, but I have a separate email address that I use for those, just so that I can keep better track of all the things that I have signed up to get the notices about. So I have a separate email address that I use just for those kinds of sites, where I can kind of keep better track of it. That's separate from, say, you know, my like personal correspondence with family members and friends and things like that. So
Right.
something to consider.
And I know sometimes, like for instance on Gmail, there'll be separate tabs for like promotional stuff for your regular inbox and then for like your social media. So that's also something that helps you separate out some of those like coupons and stuff. I know I get a lot of them. I should probably unsubscribe to stuff.
And you can, I mean, you know, if you, a lot of websites too, you know, when you first get to them you're first time visiting it, it'll pop up and say, you know, if you give us your email address, you'll get 15% off your first order or something like that. So I'm like, sure,
Yes.
I'll give them the email, you know, my secondary email address that I use just for shopping. And, you know, then I'll wait once I've gotten that discount, I'll use it that first time. And then, you know, they're basically going to use that to then send me, you know, other deals. And that's fine with me because I can, you know, if I'm not looking for something from that site, I can just delete out those emails, you know, on a regular basis and not worry about it. Or I can go and say, okay, you know, I've gotten what I need, unsubscribe, you know, take me off your mailing list. So.
Yeah, sometimes they hide those little unsubscribe buttons
Yeah.
at the bottom of the email.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes more than once of actually hitting it, and it can take a couple weeks before it actually goes through with the automated systems that they have. Do you want to demo the zip code for location to know if something's available at a local store?
Yes, let me
we're
get
going to circle back to that.
Share screen.
I think this might be a good time to circle back to that.
Do we need an example of something?
Sure. Would anyone like to put an example of something that we should search for in the chat? And we can search for whether or not we can find it locally.
I could do my pop example.
Okay, go for it.
I think it's New York. Here we go. I think it's this New York seltzer water. It's like actually really delicious. Here we go. So I went onto their website and then I believe, let's see if I can find it. Oh, it's on Amazon. I didn't know that.
It looks like Target.
That's exciting. So it says, I just scrolled down a little bit and it says find your favorite store. Let's see what that does. Okay, so it's got a store locator here and then I can enter in my zip code and then search.
And you'll notice that it also gives her the search radius. So that means, you know, are you willing to drive 50 miles to get your seltzer or 100 miles to get your seltzer? And it'll do the ones that are most near you based on what you put in for that search radius.
Well, it's not letting me do it now. I don't know why.
Oh.
Let me go on to Target maybe.
Okay.
Because there's usually a store locator on sites like these. Here we go. So at Target, at the top of their page, it says find stores. Mm-hmm. But if I also search for an item, okay, let's see. These are just auto-filled. So let's do women's shoes. And then at the side here, I can kind of see how I want it delivered. Do I want to buy it at the store, same day delivery? And then I can then go and filter other stuff. Mm-hmm. But if I click on an item,
Yeah, if you pick in-store delivery and you click on an item, it'll tell you the nearest stores that have it.
Yeah, so you'll see on the right here where it says pick up at Champaign, and then I can check other stores. So I can change my store if I'm not in Champaign anymore. I can change it to a different store, or I can deliver it, or deliver it to another area in the zip code. So I hope that makes sense. Usually stores have like a find store, store locator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is also something that works if, if you're looking for a specific product and your local store is out of that particular product too, then, you have the option of maybe going to the next nearest store if you can drive there, or you can order it online and have it delivered.
Yes.
So, okay, we do have another question about PayPal. When using PayPal, should you avoid the friends and family option, or is that subject for another class? Yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily go into a lot of detail on PayPal specifically in these workshops, and actually, I'm not even
I'm not familiar with that either.
I'm not familiar with the
curious.
friends and family option myself. But let's go ahead and do a little research here.
Okay, it looks like you can send and request money.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So let's see, it says when you send or request money through personal PayPal account, you can choose whether it's a friends and family payment. So it looks like it's kind of like a sending money kind of thing. So with that, I know I've sent money on PayPal before. The person on the other side, I believe, has to have a PayPal account too, and you have to know what their account is or some information about them. I believe either their phone number or their email that's associated with PayPal, and then you can send them money.
Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people do use PayPal as a form of a transaction, like for paying for items or things. There's lots of apps out there that also people can pay each other back for food, splitting a bill, or things like that too.
You've probably heard of like a website called, or not a website, an app called Venmo. Venmo is a pretty popular one to send and request money.
Yeah. How do you use Craigslist, and do you have to be on Facebook? You do not have to be on Facebook to use Craigslist. Craigslist is actually its own website.
You do have to create an account to sign up, though, or to create a post.
Yeah, so Facebook does have its own classified advertisements that you can use to post things on Facebook to advertise, either for sell or buy. Craigslist works the same way in that you can post things that you're looking for and or post things that you're selling. But to sell you have to create an account, and then they verify your account, and people can email you if they're interested in the items. We do have our police station here in Champaign has offered that they're a good location for people to meet to exchange an item for the money if you're doing something on a place like Craigslist, because you do want to be mindful about not necessarily meeting someone at your home, and that kind of stuff too. There's, safety factors, all that kind of stuff comes into play. And our local police station does advertise that because they have lighting all around their building, and there's always someone at the station.
I think they have camera. I think they have a camera pointed there too.
They have advertised that, if you want a safe exchange location, they might be a good spot. So.
There's
but in general,
tons of stuff on Craigslist too. Like if you go in to Craigslist and you want to create a posting to put your stuff online, you do have to have an account. But I believe if you're just buying something, you can just click on your category and then, like, say I wanted to buy this crank phone. I can click on that and then contact the seller if I wanted to buy that from them. And then, yeah, I think that's really important, Susan, with the buying stuff online on either Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something like that, is to not give out your personal info. Don't give out your address. Don't have them meet at your house. Have them meet you in a public area where, if something were to happen, God forbid, that, it would be in public.
That goes on. That's the shopping safely and securely in person too, as well as online.
Yes. So I pulled up Facebook Marketplace. I believe you do have to log in to reply and to put a post up on Facebook Marketplace. Any other questions? I hope this was useful for everybody. I know it's a lot of information to ingest in one sitting.
Anyone else? No? And remember, if you want, I can unmute. If you raise your hand, I can unmute you, and you can ask a question out loud too, instead of putting it in the chat if you'd like to. And we'll wait just a minute or two in case anybody thinks of questions they might want to ask. And of course, you can always reach out to us again. Rebecca, do you want to share the last of the PowerPoint slides there so they can, for the upcoming workshops and contact info?
So here is my I just stopped sharing that. Let me go back to it. Here we go. It's hard because the little control is right over where I want to go. There we go. There's my email and the lovely headshot that I had done a couple months ago. And you can always email me and ask for the slides, or we can put you on the list for when the video is ready and we can send that to you too.
Hello, I am Michelle Roberts. I am the Program Director of the Occupational Therapy Assistant Program at Parkland College. And I'm excited to be here today to introduce you to CUI's exercise. And what this is just a couple little exercises you can do from a seated position. And that we're going to work on breath and some stretches. So sit back in your chair, your back against the chair, feet flat on the floor. And I'm going to have you take your arms out. Your arms are like your wings of the owl. The owl is part of our logo. So your wings of the owl, you're going to bring them out to the side. And you're going to bring them up and take a deep breath in as you go up. Only go as far as you comfortably can go. No pain with this. Breathe in. Turn your palms down and breathe out. And move slowly. We're going to do that again. And you're going to breathe in peace, joy, and then let out anything negative. You're going to breathe in wisdom of the owl. And just let it all out. Then I want to have you roll your arms up, bring your arms, your wings back into a circle. Get those shoulders moving. Breathe in and out. In and out. Think about just spreading those back of your wings out. Okay. And one more. Good. And now we're just going to take another deep breath in with your wings. And breathe out. Another thing the owl does is he looks around, right? So you're going to just look around your environment to the right. Just look at what's around there. To the left. Just moving only your head as comfortably as you can. Back to center. You can look up. As long as it doesn't cause you to be dizzy, be careful with that. And look down. And come back up. And then lean your head to one side as well as comfortable. And then the other side. And that is your CUI's exercise. I hope you felt some blood moving through your arms and you got good deep breaths and you have a little peace and wisdom. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for tuning into CUI's TV. We hope you enjoyed the show. This video can be accessed anytime on youtube.com. In the YouTube search bar, type in UPTV6 and look for their microphone logo. We hope you will join us again next week for more local, engaging content designed specifically for Champaign County older adults. Take care and stay safe.